Previously on Ballz.
Talk football this afternoon, and I'm going to try my best, even though, and just as well we're not on Skype, otherwise all Gary would see behind me is Arsenal jerseys. We've moved into our new studios here, Gary, and our backdrop is a whole lot of sports. It almost resembles your office, actually, because we've got a whole lot of memorabilia, although it's not ours. But once we've got, of course, all that stuff behind you is all stuff that you've done in your career. But I'm going to try not to say the A word today, okay?
That was be very much it'd be very helpful if you didn't. That'd be great. Being top of the table at the moment, looking down on us from above.
Right. Well, I mean, anyway, it is a break in the English Premier League, and it's as they call it, squeaky bum time for some teams as far as World Cup qualification goes, and not least of all for your England boys, because it's a massive game against Poland coming up.
Yes, it's a huge game tonight. After the great result against Montenegro 4 days ago, I think it's given us a bit of breathing space. We will definitely come top of the group and qualify if we beat Poland tonight. If for any reason something goes wrong, then we've still got the playoff option. But I think the main aim is to set out to beat Poland tonight. Really, it's a game that's more than capable of producing a victory for England, and hopefully that will secure our place in Brazil. But as you say, there are some European teams like Portugal, Sweden, France, and of course even Mexico, who are really struggling to get through, and could have some very tough playoff ties to get through to Rio.
Yeah, they are. I mean, Mexico are busy sweating at the moment, as you say. Portugal are as well. I mean, Cristiano Ronaldo will be devastated if he doesn't get to play in the World Cup in Rio. But from an England point of view, I mean, if for any reason they do not beat Poland and they have to go through is there any idea who they might be up against? Do we know yet who might play who if they have to go into the qualifiers, or will they only do that draw afterwards?
As far as I'm aware, that draw will be done after the event. So, really, in 1973, we had to beat Poland to go to the World Cup, and they had a goalkeeper called Tomaszewski who had the game of his life at Wembley, and everything we threw at them, he thwarted. So we failed to qualify in 1973, but realistically, this is a game tonight which, say, after our result against Montenegro, and with the team that I'm imagining that Hodgson will pick tonight, we are more than capable of getting a convincing result.
Yeah, and in all honesty, it will probably be a tougher proposition, as maybe it should be for the qualifiers if they have to go to a qualifier, with the kind of countries that might be left in that section of the World Cup if they do not qualify automatically, than the prospect of playing Poland tonight.
Well, exactly as you say, with the number of teams that look like they could be finishing in second place, yes, it could be a very tough qualifying, but it's like you promised not to mention Arsenal a number of times. Of course, you keep going back to these qualifying through the playoffs, and please, we're, I think, over here, England fans are very positive. That won't be necessary, and as I said, we had a very good-looking side against Montenegro 4 days ago. I thought they put in a good performance, a 4-1 victory, and overall it looks like the team's starting to come together with a mixture of youth and experience. Yeah,
Montenegro are no mugs. I mean, some people in this part of the world don't even know where Montenegro is, but they're no mugs when it comes to football, that's for sure. Having said that, though, you say England will be confident tonight. Can they be comfortably confident after the performance against Montenegro, or just confident?
No, I think, what's looking good at the moment is I think people generally question when 11 players are thrown into an England side from all different clubs around the country, and at times they don't produce the best performances. But what's very positive at the moment is that in this England side, that the 10 outfield players who started against Montenegro, they're only from 5 different Premiership teams, which means that as well as having, to have a good team, you have to have decent individuals, but then cohesion amongst the players inside. Like on the right-hand side, they have Kyle Walker and Andros Townsend from Tottenham. On the left-hand side, they have Leighton Baines and Jagielka from Everton. In the middle, there's Tim Cahill, who obviously in front of him, there's Frank Lampard. You've got Gerrard linking up with Sturridge. You've got Rooney linking up with Welbeck at Man United. So all those players know each other's game from playing with their clubs. And I think bringing that together brings a lot of cohesion to this England side.
Yeah. And I won't mention any other players that won't be there tonight. from a certain club, because I promise not to mention them. But yeah, and I mean, kudos. Andros Townsend, the last game, having an awesome game, and that's the thing. Roy Hodgson has found one or two players over the course of the last few months that he can rely on in that England setup now. So a lot more depth maybe than he might have had earlier.
Yes, and I think the performances of certain players have really impressed. You mentioned Andros Townsend from Tottenham. I've seen him play a number of times this season. And the great thing about Andros is that he's the sort of player that always gets you on the edge of your seat every time he gets the ball. He's always positive. He always puts defenders under pressure. He always asks questions of the defenders. And every time he gets the ball, he looks to go forward. And he came into the side for his debut, scored a wonderful goal, and had an excellent performance. So, yes, as I say, all around the field, we got youngsters coming through. We got youngsters on the bench. Obviously, you mentioned the Arsenal player. I mean, Wilshere to me is a fantastic player. He came on during the Montenegro game. You got Barkley as well in there. You got a number of players that are slowly forcing their way into this England squad, and hopefully we will qualify, but the competition for places going to Brazil is going to be immense. Yeah.
Do you see any upsets on the cards in these final round of World Cup qualifiers? In other words, do you see any teams that are going to that should actually be automatically qualifying that might miss out and have to go via the other route?
Yes, Bafana.
They can't, Gary. They can't even go the other route, and we've even gone to FIFA and registered players.
I know. I followed their progress, and I was so disappointed when they got kicked out by Ethiopia, I think it was, that stopped them from having a chance of advancing towards Brazil. But no, as you say, that there are a number of. I mean, the trouble is, these games can cause upsets. We mentioned 1973 with England. It can happen, but generally, coming to this stage, you'd imagine that every team going in, some games maybe certain players may not be available. I imagine that every player that's available, the strongest teams will be out in these final qualification games. And I would imagine that the teams that need the results to go through will get the results over the next couple of days.
All right. Well, yes, Johnny?
Darren, I just wanted to ask Gary, what's the latest? I believe there was a report in the Daily Express this morning that is tipping Sir Alex Ferguson to come out of retirement and take over as the Socceroos, the Australia's coach.
Well, again, I think we've discussed Sir Alex a number of times, and it was even mooted earlier this season that would he come back and take over again at Manchester United. But as I mentioned on the show, I think the last time, I think Sir Alex is very happy visiting the vineyards of Stellenbosch and the vineyards of Brittany in France, enjoying his life. He's had a lifetime in football. I'm sure that I cannot imagine him coming out of retirement to go back into the game full time.
Yeah, I mean, he said he doesn't want to manage anymore, and I think that includes international countries. Why would he want to go and manage the Socceroos? He's, as you say, he's travelling the world, doing the things and enjoying his passions, which he might not have had as much chance to do while he was managing. So, hardly likely that he's going to go off to Australia. Just one final one, Gary, before you go, and every time we have you on, there's he's actually a hell of a nice guy, him and his brother Wade, and that's Graham Ashley. They also help support our charity initiative, Wings of Change. Every time Spurs win a game, our charity initiative makes R1,000. Do you know that?
No, I didn't know that. So excellent, and thank them very much for that. That's an incredible deal.
They are massive, massive Spurs supporters, and every time you're on, they say, the legend Gary Mabbutt, you should be knighted, blah, 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 blah. So if you can just say hi to Graham and Wade.
Hi, Graham and Wade, and say thank you very much indeed for that, the donation to the charity. It's much appreciated.
Awesome stuff. Of course, if they beat Arsenal, Man United, or Chelsea, it's R2,000. So the definition of mixed feelings in my case, but there we go. Thanks very much, Gary. Always great to chat to you, and good luck for England tonight. It's going to be fabulous football to watch. I can't wait.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Cheers, Gary.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Gary Mabbutt, the legend, as Graham says, talking to us again on Ballz Visual Radio and Mix 93.8 FM.
This is Ballz Visual Radio. Darren, Simon, Kate and John. Weekdays from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Central African Time. Ballz.co.za